Okay, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Depends where you're at. It looks like we're expecting a few more people coming in here, so we'll give it just a few minutes and then we'll get started, maybe about 4 or 5 minutes yet. Okay, good morning again, everybody. I think we're going to get started here. I'm guessing a few more people will join as we start going, but for it is 5 minutes after the hour, so we're going to start a while. So, everybody that's joining here, thanks for coming. We are here announcing or showing off the collaboration between Calima and Landis Technologies in where SEFAUtilServer is used in conjunction with Remeo. I think I'm saying everything right there. And so Matthias is going to start and possibly when you get a chance there, share your screen. He is going to start. He is with Colima and going to show off the Remeo product. It's a great end user tool to make changes. Well, he'll go through all that. So go ahead, Matthias, take it away from here and show us what Remeo does.
Thanks for the introduction, Bendel. Great. Thanks to everybody for joining us. To make a long story short, right, starting with the first slide. A few words to my person. I'm Matthias Engelmann, the CEO at Calima Communications. And we are at Colima 15 years roughly on the market. We are quite innovative, reliable, and grounded, and absolutely focused on simplicity. And we have some approaches we use to develop high quality products and user-friendly designs. Just some words on reference projects. Some customers we have. At Colima, we provide several product groups. First, we develop add-ons for Skype for Business and Microsoft Teams now. And the second part is workflow optimization. This is not only related to Skype for Business, but some of the products can use with Skype for Business. So, but today it's actually only all about Colima Romeo. It's a new tool we developed to optimize the management of the reachability in Skype for Business. What does it mean? With Remeo, you can easily change settings on behalf of other users. For instance, availability status means the presence status, the personal message, call forwarding settings. This is what you can do at the moment. The big thing actually is you can do it on the user level, on a team level, or on a delegate level. You don't have to be an admin. At the moment, it's Remeo only supports Skype for Business on premises because the APIs in Office 365 doesn't provide these feature set at the moment. We hope it will in future, but we will see. Let me show Remeo in a live demo. It's quite easy done. So after a quick installation, it only requires 1 minute or so. You will have an item here in your contact list. So if you click at a certain user, then you can see this item here. And you want to change, let's assume you want to change a presence status or call forwarding settings in Skype for Business of this user. Then you would click on this item. Right. So then Remeo starts. And as you can see, it's in the same look and feel as the Skype for Business client itself. So for the user, it's actually very seamless. So, and you can see here now the options. You could change the busy status, the present status, for instance, or change the personal note here. By the way, this is just a demo version. You can also install it on your computer, maybe for showing a demo to the customer or something like that. This demo version, doesn't require any server installations, so you can play with it and you can get a feeling. So it's better than screenshot, we say. So Now I changed the present status, and but yeah, I could also change my call forwarding settings. Sorry, not the settings of Frankfurter in this case. I would just switch here call forwarding on and off. And as you can see, we have a graphical workflow here, which looks very nice and is very intuitive. So you can see what happens on the first view. So if the call comes in, it goes directly to Peter Parker. And here you can choose your delay, and if the call isn't answered by Peter Parker, then after 25 seconds in this case, the call is going to voicemail or any other target. By the way, these are exactly the same settings you also have in Skype for Business. There's nothing more and nothing less. It's exactly the same. The only difference is graphical user interface. So let's assume I want to forward the calls to a colleague of Frankfurter, for instance, because he called in the morning and said he's ill, and I would choose here in the contact list, and yeah, you could type, you can search for any contact, and yeah, just have to choose person, for instance, Mary. So, and actually, you are done. You would just have to click on OK, but you could also say you want to forward to delegates. Then you could just here, you have a list of the delegates and the team group as well, the team group members. We decided to put both lists on the same page because we think it's easier to see, to get an overview who is in what group. And we could also add some delegates here and maybe also team members. So we could choose a delay here, of course. So we could also say we want to enable simultaneous ring. So in this case, we would just switch to this view, clicking on this button. And as you can see, you have a different arrow scheme here. And you get also a warning if something is missing or something wrong. So you can just click on delegates, for instance, and then you see here, you can see here the list of delegates, and you see also here the delay, which is configured here. If you change the delay to greater than 0, then also this arrow here will be shown with dots. So I think this is quite intuitive. And finally, you would just have to click on OK. And you know, just a hint, because this is a demo version, nothing will be saved. You can't destroy anything. Everything is fine. So this is actually what you can do with Remeo on a client side. We have some screenshots, but we can skip it because we had the live demo. Yeah, who should use Remeo? Of course, it's ideal for teams or boss admin scenarios, or even switchboard users, or even for the internal IT hotlines or admins. They can use other UIs, but they don't have to because it's quite easy. And probably much more use cases exist on the market. So again, the USPs, we can change, as you have seen, So we can change the user colleague settings. We don't have to be an admin. And the interesting thing to know is that this permission part is all done by assigning users to normal Active Directory security or distribution groups. So the user interface is very intuitive, and as you have seen, it integrates seamlessly into the Skype for Business client. Just a note, at the moment, I can't see if somebody's sending an IM or a question because my second screen doesn't work at the moment. So it would be helpful, maybe, Wendell, if you could barge in and if somebody was asking an important question.
At this point, there's no questions in there, but if somebody does bring one up, I'll throw it out to you there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
And a good point is, it really is straightforward. It's very simple, and it pretty much just does. If you want to forward a call, it's right click on a contact and change the forwarding. It's very straightforward. So the good thing is it doesn't take long to talk about it. So go ahead.
So we do have a question that came in there. How can I assign a group to Remeo? And I don't if you want to come on and explain further, or do you want to take that as that there, Matthias?
Just to make sure I understand the question correctly, assign a group. So we have three different options. We can, maybe it's going to be a bit take long at this part, but I don't know. We can assign users to. You can create an Active Directory group, and for instance, it's called Remeo Sales, and you put all these sales guys in, and the guys who are in the group can change the settings for each other, but probably you will not. You don't want that. Everybody can change the settings of each other. So. But you can assign in another group, and then only certain people can do these changes. And another thing is you can define users who are delegates, for instance, and say, okay, if a user is in this group, then he is automatically allowed to change all these settings of all her delegators, for instance, her bosses. So the same is with teams, team members. I don't know if it's if I made myself clear. It was a good explanation, but we could dig into it afterwards. Maybe there's a good explanation also in a knowledge base. So. It's quite flexible. Am I correct
to say, in brief, it's really assigning users to Active Directory groups?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So,
but you don't have necessarily to put all users involved into the groups. Actually, only users who are going to be allowed to do something. So, for instance, you would say. You would put in the Active Directory group, in a permission group, maybe Peter Parker. Then he is allowed to change all of his sales guys. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That would be good to just pop in the instant message window. You have a blog article that does a really good, or a knowledge base article that does a good job of saying what Active Directory groups people need to be a part of to do what, and explains it very good.
Right. Yeah. It takes a moment to understand all these options, because it's very flexible, but it's not complicated. It takes maybe some minutes, and if you got it, then it's quite easy and straightforward. Yeah, I'm gonna post it later.
Yep.
Okay. One thing to note is the Remeo application is only started if you click on this item here. So it doesn't run in the background or in the memory all the time. It started if you click here. And if you close it, then it's out of memory again. Maybe it's interesting thing to know. Okay, so we are on licensing and pricing. Remeo is based on a named user licensing model. So actually, every user who starts Remeo needs a license. It's also quite straightforward. And we offer several packages. So, for instance, we start with 5 users. It's called the starter kit. And then we have several packages, up to thousands maybe. But we have a strong digression and pricing scale. So just to give an idea, 5 users would be about 500 euros or dollars. So, but then there's a big digression. If you buy more or a lot of users, it's going to be less expensive. Then we are on future features. We have some features we are planning. So just to get you an idea, for instance, a feature would be a reachability profile, which means a user could enable some settings with one click. So for instance, he activates holiday profile, and then all these settings we have seen, for instance, present status and call forwarding and assigning delegates or so, would be done in a second. So this would allow many useful scenarios. Another features, for instance, could be the managing the out of office messages in of Outlook. So instead of going to Outlook, you could do it in Remeo. And the same for the Skype for Business native busy options. Could also be delegated to the user to decide if he wants to be busy today or not, for instance. And another thing could be rule-based control, so that you could, for instance, enable call forwarding if you are busy or something like that, or based on a calendar entry. So, but these are all features we are planning. So, but we are waiting for feedback. So, it's future features. It's just planned. Yeah, we would like to hear from you what you think about these features. But yeah, this is future music, as we say in German. But why do I mention that? If it comes to the licensing part, back to the licensing, then these future features would probably make sense to install or to buy Remeo for more users than you probably think you could need it at the moment with this feature set I presented. So yeah, there are lots of features we could use, we could provide to all the users in an enterprise, for instance. Some words on resources. We provide a 45-day trial version you can download from the website. And this demo version I showed you, which you can play with. and a product presentation you can give to your customers, for instance. You can find all that on the Colima Romeo landing page, for instance, and on more information as well on the colima.de website, the homepage. Just to mention, we have some more products, but these are mentioned as well on these this landing page, for instance, on the bottom of the landing page, so you can't miss it. But this would be off topic today. I just want to mention it. You can have a look at it. So actually now we are on the first Q&A part, planned Q&A part. We have some predefined questions which come up very often, frequently. And so, for instance, all the products we provide can be translated into any language. We just need your request, actually. And as I mentioned, we provide a 45-day fully functional trial version. You can download it from this link. And yeah, for other topics like becoming a sales partner or more questions on licensing and pricing, just contact sales, for instance. That's actually all from my part, from my side for this first part. And I could actually hand back to you, Wendell.
Okay, and maybe just one thing, if it's easy, go back to that screen where you had the map of the call coming in, the visual of the call coming in, says the call comes in and you can branch it off. So I'd been sitting in several meetings. Yeah, that picture there. I'd been sitting in several meetings. I knew what Remeo does, but I had actually never seen that sequence that just shows right up there, and you can drop down, change the timing and stuff. So as easy as it is. For those of you from the U.S., you might remember the Geico ad campaign that they say it was so easy a caveman could do it. Well, this is the type of thing. It's so easy a caveman can do it. For a lot of us more technical people, this is not important, but depends who is needing this. The end assistant, that's pretty slick. I'd never seen the whole product in actual visual demo before, so that is very interesting. Yeah, great,
Okay.
great usage there. So easy a salesman can do it, David said. Yeah, that's stretching it a little bit, but maybe.
That was the idea, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it is open, and I see everybody is muted, but you're welcome to unmute and ask any questions on the Colima Romeo part here. Open it up to any questions. And the one question that came in, I believe that was from Pierre Manfred, if I'm saying that right. Did you want to discuss that any further, or is that good enough at this point? And if anybody else has questions, unmute yourself and ask them at this point.
No, it's enough for this point. Thank you.
Did I hear somebody coming on there, or did I miss?
Yeah, he said that you answered the question good enough.
Okay, good. Okay, then I am going to take over and give it just a little bit more as I take over the screen share. If there is any questions, jump in there. Not a problem. Thank you very much for that demonstration. That's even though we've been working together a little bit, that's the first I've seen the full product, and that was neat. Okay, and you should be seeing my screen there soon. Let me know when somebody can see it there.
It's loading, and sure it'll be up. There it is, at least for us.
Great. And again, as I go through here, you can ask questions in the IM, and we'll have a little bit of a question time at the end as well. Landis Technology, as a company, we've been around 20-some years now. Range of different products in our history, but what we're here specifically talking about is our Skype for Business SEFAUtilServer. We have Attendant Pro and a few others, which I'll show as well. But SEFAUtilServer, for a lot of you on here, may be technical and remember SEFAUtilEXE. We'll talk about the differences a little bit. But Lattice Technology makes several different things specifically around Skype for Business. And we're now in over 50 countries with our products and growing. And I see that map is out of date. There's a few more that should be on there. A few of our recognizable names that we've worked with, and that too could also be updated. I'm going to just skip through a couple of these to get to SEFAUtil pretty quick. We do Attendant Pro, which is a receptionist console call recording by itself, working on some new products there. And of course, the last one on that list is SEFAUtilServer, which is what we're highlighting here today as it works with Calima's Remeo product. SEFAUtilServer is built on the idea, and where it got its name is the SEFAUtilEXE from Microsoft. And a lot of you probably have used that already. It's a very clunky thing, and we'll go into that a little bit more, but it did an important job, did an important thing that needed to be done. Just we felt it could be improved on. And so we came up with the Lattice SEFAUtilServer, and it has a lot of benefits. And I'll just go through a few of those. So one of the big things is PowerShell. And if you use PowerShell, as Japheth said, PowerShell would not be so easy that a salesman could do it. I don't know how to use it, but I understand it's a great thing. That was one of the top things that was needed. So some of the benefits, of course, you can script that, you can do these changes easily and repeatable. You can do mass changes, and I'll show you where you can pipe users and do changes to a large group of people. And it can be extended if you have a PowerShell UI that you're using, or if you want to create your own management portal, PowerShell gives you the ability to do stuff like that. So adding PowerShell to the SEFAUtil idea was a very key benefit. Another key benefit is the performance. So the old EXE would do 14 seconds, give or take, per contact. So if you say I have a large organization with tens of thousands of users, and you want to reset everybody's presence at midnight so that people don't come in and forget that they do not disturb. So every night you want to run this command. Well, if you have tens of thousands of users, it's still going to be running throughout the next day and change it at the wrong time and all that stuff. Lattice SEFAUtilServer, close to 100 milliseconds per contact, so it can just buzz through a whole bunch of changes in a short time. A lot of reasons. One, it's a server, it's a service that's running, and it's one of the key differences there is SEFAUtilServer is always running and can just go through all the contacts, where SEFAUtilEXE would have to start up, make one change, shut down. Start up, make one change, shut down. So it would be just a clunky way to do it. So the performance is a key benefit of it as well. Also, extended capabilities. So the top three things there are things that SEFAUtilServer did, and they're needed: change forwarding, change team members, change delegates, and you saw with Remeo how easy that can be to change forwarding and all the settings in there with SEFAUtilServer, making that capable to be super easy to do. We've also added the ability to change someone's note, change someone's presence. Like I said, if you want to reset people that forget to take themselves off of Do Not Disturb, or for whatever other reason you want to change presence or their notes. You can also do contact list management. So you can add contacts to people's groups, or you can add a new group and populate it with contacts as well. So it allows you to say, give a new user that's starting today, give with one PowerShell command, give them what they need to start, the groups that they'll most likely need, their sales team, their management team, and whatever you want set up in there. So a few scenarios that we've enabled. One is through the PowerShell mass admin changes. So you want to log in and make a huge number of changes to change a set of users. a few different ways that could be. So one, you want to change a bunch of users' settings for some reason, resetting their presence, resetting their call forwarding, whatever, all at one time, or stuff that needs to happen frequently. You can have settings the ongoing settings that need to be put back to default because they get out of whack, and once in a while they need to be put back in and have that automatically run. So some examples that you might use it: migrations, where you need to bring a whole bunch of people over and give them all a certain set of settings. Coexistence with other PBX, ongoing management, where you're making continual changes, and of course the interface for this type of thing is PowerShell. The IT administrator logging in and making mass changes, or individual changes as well, but typically more mass changes. Colleague changes tend to be more one-to-one, or somebody has permissions to change a few things. Some things there. Boss admin, that is Microsoft language boss admin, which gets confusing with administrators, but it's the boss and the assistant. So a lot of places you see admin in here, we're talking about the assistant, the receptionist, but Microsoft's language is boss admin for administrator. So receptionist assistants needs to manage settings for their boss, and needs to, the executive walks out and says, I'm leaving, change my note to this and forward my calls to so and so. And they don't want to actually log in and make the changes. They just want their assistant to do it for them. But the assistant obviously can't have access to the boss's credentials to go to his computer and make the changes. They walk out, and the assistant needs to make those changes. So that's one scenario. Interface here is one thing that we've showed very clearly. There is how Colima Romeo, powered by SEFAUtilServer, can make those changes very easy and intuitive. We also have an IM bot, or maybe a better way to word that is a remote command, where you can send a command to SEFAUtilServer and it'll make the changes, and you can do it through IM. So it works from your office, it works from outside the edge, whatever scenario. And if you have the right command, there's no additional complexity. Just send that command and it'll make the change. And of course, we talked about Colima Romeo, and Landis our Attendant Pro also allows you to change note and presence if that is if SEFAUtilServer is in the environment. So I'm going to throw a few things on there, and again, if somebody asks a question, I should stop. Somebody barge in there. But so I'm going to go through a few ideas here, a few demos that show how SEFAUtil works. First of all, I'm going to show a few PowerShell ideas. So one, I'm going to use call forwarding I'm going to change the call forwarding for somebody using PowerShell. So I just type this command in, get the forwarding, type in the SIP address, enable forward to other destination, which is this. And as soon as I enter that command, the forwarding change, and you notice on the client here, it notes that call forwarding calls have been forwarded. So that's one idea, doing a single user, and that's how the PowerShell can work. Let me go to the next one, change note. So we can change this, what's happening where we have the note, and here again we're going to get the user note, put in the SIP address, and change it to changed by PowerShell. As soon as you execute that, you notice this. I don't know if you can see that real clearly on your side, but it says changed by PowerShell right here. And next idea here. Here we're going to do a piped group, so you can do mass changes, and here we're just using the standard Skype for Business server command to get all users that have Martin in them. And when we do that, we want to change their note to change by PowerShell. So if you notice down here, we have Clayton, CJ we call him, and Dale both have their own notes. As soon as I execute that, it comes down to change by PowerShell on both of those. So, and you can do mass changes like that. So that's a example of piped group. In this case, we use it to change the note. Add contacts. So this is a requested feature that a lot of people have wanted to be able to do. So you can add contacts. So here we're going to do SIP address is this, who's we're going to add the contact for. We're going to add this contact to add, and we're going to put it in the group ABC. So here we have a group ABC, and as soon as I execute that command, it put a user in that group. One note when you add contact groups. So if you're going to add the contact group, you can just, all you have to do is, instead of doing ABC there that we had already in the client, already had ABC there, you just add a new contact group that's not in the list. So if I would have typed in 1, 2, 3 in that PowerShell instead, it would have automatically added it. There's a bug in the actual Skype for Business client that allows you to add lowercase groups as a separate thing than the same uppercase group. So if I would do lowercase ABC and uppercase ABC, it would add it as 2 different groups. But in the client, it always translates it to uppercase. You notice all the groups are uppercase, so there would be no way to tell which one is which in the client. So just a note, if you're adding groups, keep them more separate than just upper and lower case. And now an example of using the instant message bot if you need to change something like that. So with, I'm going to send an instant message to SEFAUtilServer. This is the specific message I have to send, and notice that CJ is in a call, and what we're going to be doing is changing presence to available for CJ. And as soon as I execute that, I send that message to this SEFAUtilServer user, and it comes back that it was completed in 0.1 something seconds, and notice it's changed by PowerShell. I mean, no, that we were changing the presence here to available. So that's how the IM bot works, and that can be done wherever this person that has the rights to do it is located. Architecture. It is a standard UCMA trusted app. So you just install that as the same as any other trusted application, and of course that means it's working for on-prem servers only. It does not have any dependency on Microsoft SEFAUtil. It's totally a separate product, named similar to give people the idea of what it does, but not named similar because there's any kind of dependency on each other there. And so there you can see how it, in the front end pool, you have this trusted application, along with the front end pool, and then that can talk to the IM bot PowerShell and with the endpoints. Naming conventions. Here's a list of some commands here, but you can always just use get command in PowerShell to get a list of all those as you're working with it. One of the other differences between Microsoft SEFAUtil, it uses the underlying UCMA structure, so it's kind of not intuitive for the way you should set it up, where SEFAUtilServer from Landis follows what you would expect from the Skype for Business client UI. So I would just show that here. In PowerShell, it's going to use, you're going to start by getting the SIP address for the person, then you disable forwarding, and as you go, it goes down through with what you would do next. So you add what's the wait time, that's the next thing. So it kind of works through the way you would expect it to work in the client. Just a little bit easier to use. The server, so like Skype for Business, it's a service running, and it's a very small usage there, 50 megabytes. I don't know that I'd spend a lot of time about installation here. We can get you more details on that as you get ready to set up, but it's the same as any standard trusted application server. Security is important. So PowerShell, at this point, if you have the credentials to log in and use PowerShell against this server, you can make all changes for all users. There's some future plans to give a little bit more granularity on that you can have some PowerShell security as well. But at this point, if the administrator has the right to use PowerShell, he has the right to make changes to all users. The IM bot obviously has to have more detailed security than that, and so we're giving it. You can map for each admin, and again, this is, you could say user or assistant here instead of admin. We're using that same Microsoft word there for the assistant that needs to make the change. So one is if you just have a certain user listed in the basically they can make all changes. If you give them that right, you can just list them as somebody that has the ability to make changes to all users. Or you can define which users, so which bosses or which other users they can make changes to. And so if you say user Wendell Martin has the right to make changes to these 3 people or this one person, whatever you define in that, and then you can further define it and say Wendell Martin has the right to make change for Matt Landis, but only change presence or only change note, and you can list what changes they're able to make. So it's very granular on who can make what changes and can be very detailed on how that gets set up. We already talked about Colima Romeo, just explaining again how easy it is to use the power of SEFAUtilServer coupled with the power of Remeo makes it so easy a salesman can do it. And also we have Attendant Pro where in Attendant Pro, if you have that for your receptionist, you can just click on this name here and make changes to the note and presence there as well. Licensing. It is based on enterprise voice users. We have a community edition that is free for unlimited use forever for if you have 50 users in your environment. So this is great for real small companies or for labs, for proof of concept, stuff like that you can put the community edition into small implementations. Then there is also, if you want support, even if you're under 50 users or if you're over 50 voice users, it is based on total system voice users. So Colima Romeo is based on named users that are going to be using Remeo. SEFAUtilServer is based on all voice users. And we'll get you quotes for that. So it's different buckets of users. So if you want to shoot us an email or get in contact with us, and we can get you a quote for that, whatever number of voice users you have there. Free community license, again, that's just explaining that a little bit more and specifically calling out if there's any partners, Skype for Business implementers on the call here, you can get an NFR license for internal use if you're Microsoft MVP or some community influencer in the Skype for Business community. So we'll give some NFR keys away there to those who need it. And some resources gives you some more. So we have SEFAUtilServer landing page. There's a Yammer site to get community support, knowledge-based article, and some more details on in the TechNet gallery, if I can say that right. So, questions, clarifications, something you want to see again on SEFAUtilServer, or if you have any questions for Colima as well on the Remeo. Again, your voice, you can unmute yourself and talk if you want to.
The question I had for the people from Colima, specifically about with licensing for Remeo, do only the users who need to utilize the Remeo client need to be licensed, or is it everyone who would need their reachability settings to be changed by use of Remeo? Also, would they also need to be licensed?
No, at the moment, it's only the one who starts Remeo, actually, who wants to change the settings of someone else.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Because it's, of course, also the person whose settings will be changed will benefit, but this part is actually covered by the licensing of SEFAUtilServer. So we thought it's quite fair to do it this way.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome. By the way, I posted the link to the knowledge base article regarding how to set the user's permission for Remeo. So, yeah, there are some explanations and examples in it, and should be very easy to understand then.
a note on how part of the collaboration between Landis Technologies and Calima is that you can buy both products from either one of us and have your support through that partner. So if you're used to working with one or the other of us, the whole package can be bought through either one of us, and then that is also who is going to be supporting it for you to make it so that you don't have to work with two different vendors for one solution. Okay, I think we're a little bit before the hour, but give it just a few more minutes for questions, and then I'll wrap it up if nobody has anything else that they're wondering about.
What I want to add is, I didn't mention that also for Remeo, it is possible to get NFR licenses for resellers and MVPs for free. So it's actually the same as in SEFAUtilServer. And
I failed to mention that we have a trial as well. We are a little bit stingier than Calima. We do an automatic 30-day trial. But if you need 45 because you're getting it in conjunction, we can obviously do that, extend that if we need to. But yeah, if you automatically get a trial, we have a 30-day free trial as well.
Yeah.
Okay, again, I was impressed with how easy Remeo, I think I keep saying that a little bit wrong, how easy that leveraged the power of SEFAUtilServer and made it just extremely intuitive and easy to make those changes. I was impressed again with that. And yeah, if anybody on here wants trials, wants quotes, demos, be in contact there. Maybe I should put my, let me just get rid of this and put my email in. I know you can get it other ways as well. Type that in, and let me just. Who should they contact on Calima's side there if somebody wants quotes? Maybe throw that in the IM window as well, so that they have the contacts they need there.
It's will be sales@calima.de.
Great. So contact us, and we can get you set up there. I'm excited about the collaboration going forward here. And hopefully we can solve some business problems that end users are having.
Yes, hoping this as well.
Final call for any questions? Comments? Okay. Thanks a lot. Looks like we can give 7 minutes back to everybody and give you an extra 7 minutes in your day. Thanks for joining.
Yep. Thanks for joining. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye.